Я вітаю всіх, хто приєднався до нас.
Welcome everyone who joins Media Center in Ukrinform. 131st day of the full-fledged invasion of the Russian aggressors. And today we'll talk about the situation on the border. Our speaker is Andriy Demchenko, spokesperson of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine. Mr. Andriy, what's the situation now? Hello. First of all, it's true, it's 131st day of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian nation against the Russian invasion. The border guard troops keep defending the country as part of the security and defense sector, ensuring safety at all the borders of Ukraine. By the way, at the border with Belarus, so far we haven't changed any changes in the behavior pattern of the Belarus armed forces. No signs of them forming an assault unit. The armed forces of the Republic of Belarus are being sent on the shifts to protect the Ukraine-Belarus border in Brest and Gomel regions. We can see some engineering works and defense fortification construction works there, as well as deploying the electronic warfare equipment. As for the border with Moldova, near Transnistria breakaway republic, the situation hasn't changed so far. Along with the other security and defense sector agencies, we carry out all the needed actions to ensure that the border has all the proper logistics arrangements done, and we do everything possible to avoid any provocations and non-standard situations. The border at the Chernigiv and Sumy regions, that's the border with Russia, where Russia keeps some military troops in Bryansk and Kursk regions. They do it to demonstrate the presence of their presence there and trying to prevent us from using our troops there elsewhere, but we haven't observed any signs that they are ready to launch ground attack, even though they keep shelling Chernigiv and especially Sumy regions daily. Those regions are being shelled using various types of equipments. In one week, we had 100 shellings reported using airstrikes, small arms, but mostly mortars and artillery pieces used. The border with the EU and Moldova, except for Transnistria segments, today the daily crossing of the state border is at the level of 90,000 persons both ways. In some days it might be fewer people, in others slightly more, reaching 98 people a day sometimes. And as for the car crossings, 24,000 cars. From February the 24th, more than 11 million persons crossed the border. Going out of Kiev, 6.6 million people. The predominant majority, 5.8 million, were citizens of Ukraine. Also, going into Ukraine, there were 3.9 citizens of Ukraine crossing the border. We keep seeing that those who are crossing the border to come in, there are more coming in than going out, which shows that people are ready to come back home, which is the trend from the May. Of course, there are days when the number of those who are going out is more than those going in. The greatest inflow is across the border with Poland, where we have 8 car border crossing points. No substantive lines at the border of cars. Also, when the privileged car customs clearance regime was lifted, well, there are fewer cars now waiting, and that's why the lines are no longer as big as they used to be. The blockades of the Ukrainian Black Sea ports, the border guards and all the other related ministries and agencies are making sure that all of the cars or trucks transporting commodities would waste no time crossing the border, going in or out, and we are working together with the neighboring countries to increase the throughput at the crossing borders, because we all need to recognize that crossing a border, it's not only crossing the Ukrainian side of the border, but also that of the counterparts. The customs, the border guards examination of citizens takes into consideration the limitation of the ability of male 18 to 60 years of age to cross the border. Of course, there are lots of exemptions here. The relevant main resolution outlines those. So only those males who fell under those exemptions could cross the border right now. Daily, the border guards refuse more than 100 persons to cross the border, sometimes up to 200 people a day leaving the country. Most of them are male passengers. Also, daily we apprehend infringers who are trying to cross the border illegally, more than 40 in the last 24 hours. But from 24th of February, at the green side of the border, we have apprehended more than 3,800 people like this. 3,050 were apprehended at the crossing borders when they tried to flee the country using the bogus documents. Also, during the martial law time, when the groups of kids are going abroad, this could happen only if there is agreements from the social services. But the organizers of such trip do not have to have notary approved copy, according to the resolution 661 that introduced changes into the procedure for how kids could live abroad for rest and recreation purposes. We had lots of examples before when such groups will be lacking certain documents, even though initially it was arranged to expedite the ability to bring the teams of kids abroad as fast as possible, to make the process well controlled with high guarantees of bringing kids back home. So the border guards will be checking out the availability of the agreement of the social service, the list of kids, and in compliance with the relevant resolution, a passport or the birth certificate for a kid, and the agreement from guardians or parents to allow their kids to go abroad. Thank you for your attention. If you would have any questions, I would gladly entertain them. Just agreement from one parent is enough? Yes, from one of the parents is enough. But co-signs in the Social Security Agency. Colleagues, your questions?
My name is Howard Dotson. I'm a U.S. Army vet, and this is my third trip to Ukraine, and I provided a security assessment to your leadership.
Just a moment. Yes, please repeat.
Можна ще раз?
Please repeat.
My name is Howard Dotson. I'm a U.S. Army vet. I help with civilian evacuations. I've been here 3 times now, and I've provided a security assessment about my concerns about the train stations, and that 3 have been hit, and buses are a better way to evacuate. It's a lot harder to hit a bus than a train station. Has anyone thought about other ways of evacuating women and children?
I don't think this is the question directly to the border guards. So yeah, thank you for your question, and my take on it is this. Currently, you can cross the border both on a car or a bus and using railways. So relevant ministries and agencies are analyzing the information related to the safety of the railway transportation, because the railways are guaranteeing safe crossing of the national border of Ukraine, so we, for the time being, trust them. Hello, Miss Andrew. Vadim Veterev, Corriere della Sera, Italy. I would like to ask the following question. Have the norms of crossing the border changed to enter Ukraine for those citizens who want to get recruited into the international battalion? If there were any changes, what exact changes happened? Well, those citizens who want to get enrolled into the international battalion and help us repel the Russian aggression, well, we lifted visa regime for them, so they can enter without any visas. But as the Ministry of Defense mentioned, and the Foreign Ministry as well, for that they need to properly arrange their paperwork, so that while crossing the border guard officers will clearly understand that the goal for them to come into the country is to join the international battalion fighting for Ukraine. They need to claim this while crossing the border, yes? We worked with the consulate offices and embassies of Ukraine, where all of the explanations will be provided, as well as the documents if need be. But such citizens, while crossing the border, even if they don't have documents, they need to clearly state the goal of their visit, namely saying that I want to get enrolled into the international battalion. If we receive confirmation, then there would be no problem crossing the border. Thanks for your report. You mentioned the... Can you introduce yourself, please? Tatiana Demchenko, the member of the Association of Journalists. So you gave figures how many people left the country and came into the country. But can you make the breakdown? Gender, age, professional background, so who's coming, who's leaving? No, we are not keeping such accounting. Thank you. That was Andriy Demchenko, the spokesperson of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine and Friends. I would like to remind you that at 3:30 we'll have the press conference of the representatives of the Association of the relatives of Azovstal defenders, and we'll talk about bringing back our heroes back to the country. Stay with us.